It's Mike, your host of Craft Beer Storm. How are you doing today? Also found a brewer at Bear Brewing Company in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And today is Friday, so it's Craft Brew News. And these stories are courtesy of brewbound.com. First story. Texas governor to sign beer to go into law. This is an update from a story we ran a couple weeks ago. Texas Governor Greg Abbott will officially make beer to go sales at the state's manufacturing breweries legal during a June 15 signing ceremony at Austin Beerworks. So here we go. They weren't allowed to sell beer to go, and now they are. That's an awesome thing. I think they were the last state that prohibited it. But Abbott's signature will allow consumers to purchase up to 1 case of beer per day from the state's manufacturing breweries starting September 1, 2019. Those sales should count against a 5,000 barrel cap that is already in place for on-premise taproom sales at those breweries. And the signature will also ensure operations to the state's alcohol regulatory body, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. Will continue. So they're only limited to 1 case. Hey, it's better than nothing. And then, hopefully we can go forward and eliminate that restriction, and they can sell as much as they want out of the tap room. And that would be awesome. It would be great for the breweries, right? Second story. Yards Brewing begins offering contract brewing services. Yards makes great beer. Their Philadelphia's Yards Brewing Company is now offering contract brewing services to fill about 60,000 barrels of excess capacity. Yards has opened a 70,000 square foot production facility and taproom in November 2017, which has about 100,000 barrels of annual capacity. And last year's large production, Yards production declined 2% to 40,296 barrels, according to the data from Brewers Association. So they got to max out their capacity there. It looks like a huge facility, 70,000 square feet, man. Yards said its first client is New Jersey's Cape May Brewing Company, according to a press release on the Brewers of PA website. The company is seeking additional partners. So they need to contract brew. When contract brewing is when they just take a recipe and they brew it for another brewer, and then a distributor comes in and picks it up and then distributes it. So it's a way for brewers to get into it, or if they need some excess capacity, they can go to a brewery that has that capacity, and then it's great for both parties. The brewer doesn't have to put out all capital, and the contract brewer can maximize their tanks. Right? They bought the tanks; they have to use them, and they need to keep that thing going. So it's a good thing for both parties. Third story, U.S. House Committee expected to extend the federal excise tax relief for brewers. I thought this was permanent, but apparently it's temporary. An effort to maintain reduced federal excise taxes on brewers and importers could take a major step forward. The House Ways and Means Committee is expected to extend tax cuts for alcohol producers and importers as part of a Taxpayer Certainty and Disaster Tax Relief Act of 2019 extender bill. Although the committee's version of tax relief will only extend through the end of 2020, the alcohol industry trade groups say they plan to continue efforts to make the tax cuts permanent, and I think they'll be permanent. The extender would keep in place through December 31, 2020, an excise tax rate of $3.50 per barrel. It's a reduction from $7 per barrel, so they cut it in half, which is great, on the first 60,000 barrels for domestic brewers producing fewer than 2 million barrels annually. Legislation also sets the federal excise tax to $16 per barrel on the first 6 million barrels for all of the brewers and beer importers, while maintaining the $18 per barrel excise tax for brewers producing more than 6 million barrels. Wow, 6 million barrels is a lot of beer. The Brewers Association, the Colorado-based trade group supporting over 7,000 small and independent breweries, also supports the bill and also plans to continue working alongside the BI to advance the legislation. So it's a good thing. Brewers Association is involved, and try to keep that $3.50 per barrel. It helps everybody, especially the small guys. The last story here: Cannabis on the verge of next brewery acquisition. We have to throw a cannabis story in here. Lighthouse Strategies, the company behind Cannabis and Two Roots line of CBD and THC infused non-alcoholic craft beers, is closing in on its next brewery acquisition. The CEO and chairman, Michael Hayford, said the company could finalize the purchase of a craft beer company in the Great Lakes region of the U.S. before the end of June. I wonder what brewery that is. According to Hayford, who discussed the company's strategy and outlook on cannabis space at BevNet's Cannabis Forum last week in New York City, the forthcoming acquisition will aid Lighthouse's expansion into the Canadian cannabis market when drinkable products are permitted for sale later this year. So up in Canada, they're going forward with it. Though he declined to name the company or discuss financial terms and potential deal, Hayford said the brewing facility is capable of producing between 60,000 and 100,000 barrels per year annually. That's awesome. It's a lot of beer. In the meantime, Hayford confirmed that Lighthouse has been working with San Diego's Green Flash Brewing Company for contract beer production. Under the terms of that agreement, Cannabis has access to 50,000 barrels of production capacity annually. So this is a way for a company to just, buy a brewery or do some contract brewing, right? Like in our other story, they went to Green Flash. They probably have some excess capacity, and Cannabis goes in, and 50,000 barrels is a nice chunk of beer right there. Or cannabis-infused non-alcoholic craft beers. This is what they're saying. So CBD and THC, I think it's the next wave as cannabis becomes legalized in states. So watch out for it. It's coming your way. And that's what we have for craft brew news today. The drama continues in the craft beer world. If you like what you're hearing, you like our podcast, please go on to iTunes, give us a rating, give us a review. We do 3 podcasts a week. Mondays we do brewers, founders, movers, and shakers in the craft beer world. Interview them, get some insights. Wednesdays we do beer style, so we go down the Great American Beer Festival list and pick a different style every week, and we expand on it. What kind of malt is used, hops, is it hoppy? What glass to serve it in, the ABV range, and examples of the style. And then on Fridays, we bring you craft brew news, which is this news we just brought you today. So I hope you have an awesome weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Take care.